The documentary is about two friends named Joshua Fields Millburn and Ryan Nicodemus and their minimalist, less is now ways of living. Many people have recognized minimalism as an extreme way of living because they believe minimalism means not having anything. Living with nothing contributes to the point that it is extreme. Minimalism allows people to eliminate physical objects they do not need and keep only what they need or want to keep in their house or apartment. I agree with the film because it is a good documentary and shows how minimalism has become a great way of life. It gives some commentary and background relevant to minimalism, which is how minimalism has become a new trend. The documentary also brings up an interesting point about living without physical objects. It focuses on minimalism as well as decision-making in life by eliminating every physical object that people do not need in their lives. Minimalist, less is now relates to sociology by focusing on how minimalism has become a culture. It focuses on the viewpoints of other people with the same interests as minimalism. Many people believe that minimalism is a trend because they have started to notice that others are doing things like living in a minimalist way. Through sociologists like Charles Wright Mills, the study of culture enables people to be aware of the relationship between a person's behavior and experience and the broader culture that shapes the person's choices and perceptions. In the documentary, the people who have these minimalist lifestyles can have a better quality of life by living without physical objects. The factors that lead to minimalism are more than a culture. People are becoming more conscious of their surroundings and how they can interact with their environment to ensure they remain content with what surrounds them. In addition, the documentary relates to sociology by making it known that minimalism has much background since living without physical objects has been part of history for centuries. With the rise of technology and computers, living without physical objects is becoming more popular. For millennia, people have been fascinated by the relationships between individuals and societies. It shows that historically sociologists have background information on the way people live. Davella established that the documentary has background information about the production of a documentary about living without physical objects. It brings up some points and ideas that were not brought up before. It gives some commentary and background relevant to minimalism, which is how minimalism has become a new trend. The documentary also brings up an interesting point about living without physical objects in a house or apartment, which provides people with more freedom over their space to live with more choices. Besides, the documentary relates to sociology by showing how many people have recognized minimalism as an extreme way of living because they believe minimalism means not having anything. Sociologists study social events, interactions, and patterns, and they develop theories to explain why things work as they do. For example, symbolic interactionism theory explains that people behave a certain way because their behavior is made up of their motives. It shows how sociologists have background information on how the meaning of minimalism has evolved. According to Davella, the documentary itself provides background information on how minimalism has become a new trend, which also provides background information on sociologists' findings on how people behave in certain situations. In conclusion, Minimalist Less Now is an informative documentary. It gives people an idea of what others are doing to make their lives less complicated through minimalism. The film relates to sociology because it gives background information on how minimalism has become a new trend in society. It looks at other people's lives and how they live with fewer material things to simplify them, which shows that it is becoming more popular. It gives background information on where the idea of minimalism began and where it is going now. Everything you need for studies, essay samples, writing tools, and tips, you can find at studycorgi.com.